Hey, W here. Welcome to my channel. I'm in a sort of slightly amusing position here because I'm doing an intro for a video about a project that I don't have anymore. Like usually I'd be like, look at that, this is what I made and this is how I did it. I don't have it, and that's because this time, like I've done on this channel before, I made a present for my daughter, and this one was a Christmas present. And by the time I sit down to put together this video, it's way past Christmas, and she's already gotten it. I'm very glad to say that she liked it, and so do her D&D friends. But of course, that means I don't have it anymore. But I also don't have an intro for the video. So here we are. This is the intro. I think we should just dive in. Here's how I made the tablet of Reawakening from the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves film.
Unfortunately, production hasn't shared anything about these amazing props online, so I just loaded up the film and got some screenshots. And I could immediately see that modeling this on my own was probably going to be above my pay grade. Fortunately, I didn't have to. A user called Cop3D made and shared this amazing version on MakerWorld. It's actually also a dice box, and it looks great. So of course I downloaded that and I did a test print, and it looks marvelous. It looks amazing. I really like it. But on the other hand, being the way makers are, there were still a few things that I wanted to do. So I loaded it up into SketchUp and tweaked a few minor details. I did the front so that the runes on the front so that they're a little bit more of a V-slot, because I thought that might be easier to paint later. And also these elements on the side that sort of curve around towards the back of the shape here. I found a way of doing that, which isn't easy with an STL in SketchUp, by the way. And then I also divided it up into elements that I could print separately, because I felt like that might give me some slightly better results. All right, paint testing, or color testing, in fact, for this thing, which is not the finished thing. The Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves tablet of Reawakening, the test print. So, but I'm not actually testing on this one right now. I'm gonna try and approach a color scheme which I think, to find something I think might work. And I think the base for it, the pictures are a little, well, it's a little unclear, but I think the base is basically a matte black, or half matte. And I actually have two different blacks here, and actually not fully matte. I have a high gloss somewhere, and these are just, this is like low to medium gloss. I think it's that. It's sort of like a polished marble. I think it's marbled. I think it's supposed to be stone. The base coat is going to be low to medium gloss black. I'm gonna lay down some of that first. And I think that's about as far as you get with, quote unquote, a couple of drops. But I think color-wise, that's fine. And so as to not have to wait all the time. Actually, kind of funny thing is the variation in coverage. It could work for the texture that I want, and if so, well, I'll do it on purpose. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. There's a sort of pearlescence or iridescence to the texture, and I think I'm going to test something, but I have an idea of how to achieve that. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and dust this very lightly with a little bit of gunmetal in ye airbrushy. It's almost too much, but it actually kind of does what I want. I just want to try something here. It is actually possible Look at this. I don't know if you can tell, but this cardboard is almost pearlescent now. But I think I may have actually already gotten too much on this. I think I'm gonna, yeah, I think I got too much on it. I think I'm gonna do a second pass of the whole thing. I think that's it. That might be even, still might be slightly too much uh, silvery or gunmetal-y, but when you look at this, I don't know how well this shows up on camera. You look at this, it is undeniably black, but it has a sort of a sheen to it. So you're like, yep, that's black. Wait a minute, is it silvery? And that's exactly how I want it to go. And then there's one other thing that I think I should try. I have this paintbrush that is sort of like in between a stiff glue brush and a soft paintbrush. So it's a little bit on the stiff side. And I think, again, because I have this idea that this is sort of a stone, it's made of a kind of stone, I think I'm gonna try and dry brush-ish a little bit of like gray, maybe white. I'm just trying with a little light gray that I'm thinking like pull on a few like a few little like veins of gray, and I'm just testing it on this one. Like a really dry brush with just a touch. Again, I don't know how well this reads on camera, but I actually think I'm sort of on the right track here. It's honestly, it's slightly distracting that it is corrugated cardboard. I have to admit that. But I think as a test, this is. I think that's the direction I'm going to go in. So I'm going to call this a successful test. All right, so doing a little bit more testing. I'm just going to do a quick thing here. I'm just going to do a little bit of dremeling, because that's another thing I want to test. I have this sort of little, it's a quarter of the final object, which I made as a test. But I just want to test something. Yes. Yeah, I think this one. A grinding stone with a sort of a rounded end here. See, in the 3D model, all of these runes or markings here are the same level. They're just basically an extruded pattern. And that's fine, but I've added a little elevation to the base that they're sitting on, the underlying sort of face that these runes are on. And I'm just going to try and add a little bit of noise, so to speak, to the runes themselves. Just a tiny, tiny bit, so that they aren't completely flat. I just want to see how that might work. Wait a minute. I need this thing. Ah, doesn't come on. Unplug it. No accidents, please. Yeah. Really needs to go very slow because I think the filament is sort of melting. I honestly I can't see that much difference doing this, but I think the difference will become, if there is one, I think it'll become more apparent in the after I prime it. And I made a little bit sort of spider webbing. I think I'll try and see if it comes off if I use a stiff brush. I don't know what we call it spider webbing, but it's sort of, it didn't pull off cleanly when I did this. The grinding action didn't sort of pull off material cleanly, but rather in these little sort of lips. So I'm just going to try and get rid of that. That's working. Oh wow! I can do the thing with this. Interesting. I just want to see it. I just want to see what that does. I actually think that did exactly what I wanted to this, but now I've scuffed off up part of the rest of this little test piece, but I did that on purpose. I just want to see what happened. But this brush, just this stiff brush, by going so fast, I can actually grind away at the filament a little bit. And I think that's okay. I think that's an okay effect. There's still a little bit of sort of this little sort of tongues of material hanging off of the edges some places. That's better. I think that worked great. I'm not sure yet. It'll show up in the priming, but I think I removed exactly what I wanted. Some of the flatness and sort of uniformness of the runes to make them look more hand carved and weird. I think that's exactly what happened. Okay, well let's try and put some primer on it because that's the other thing I'm going to test. I've been using my big old rattle can and I'm a little scared because the dosing is not subtle with the rattle can. That is a powerful dosing tool and I think it might be risky because this thing has some very subtle features to it, like these runes and of course these. So I don't want to drown it. I don't want to swamp it. So I'm going to try and use airbrush primer instead. I got myself a big old tub of that. So let's see how that works. And I'm also not sure how much coverage you get with this stuff. So I'm just going to use a few drops basically and see how far it gets me. That's lovely, I think. Yeah, I think I have much better control. Woo! I should probably stick it down now, apparently. Okay, well I'll get some primer on my fingers, that's okay.
I did very little to clean up this print before I started testing, so it's full of strings and artifacts. I don't think that'll distract me too much, though. I think I've got it. Because it's not, with this, it's not so much the finish. The thing I did with the brush on these runes works great. I'm gonna do something like that, maybe a little more carefully. Like I said, there's a lot of artifacts. It's okay. I think I'm just gonna hit this. I'm gonna do a color test on this thing on top of the primer, because I'm gonna try another few things. Maybe I'll try several of them on the same object here. Let's just see. The base layer is still gonna be this medium gloss black, so I'm just gonna start with that. I should note that I'm not experienced with the airbrush. So there's a great deal of practice in it for me as well. Yeah. That was a few drops of black, and I got a very nice coverage and a very nice finish. I believe in it. I have to tell you, this wasn't sanded or anything, and it's still, I mean, I can barely see print lines on this. I'm actually quite stunned. It's very, very, it's going very, very well in terms of that, because I thought that I thought it would take some magic and some luck to get a 3D print this detailed to look nice without print lines, because I can't sand it the way I'd normally do. And then I'm going to try and add a little bit of pearlescence to it. Okay, so this is actually drying quite nicely, but I'm just going to do something before I try that, before I do the next test on that. I have another test bed known as a plastic spoon. And I think I'm actually going to replicate the whole thing, basically. And now comes the test that I want to do. The next thing. The next thing is this. This is from AK, and it is part of their metallic colors. But it's pearl. It's just pearl. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, on top of this, I should probably dry a little bit. Yep, that's me multitasking. Slow oscillations with one hand, shaking with the other. How about that? What I'm going to try to do is apply just the tiniest dusting of pearl to this black, in the hopes that that might give it a little bit of pearlescence, which is what I'm looking for. I tested this idea already this is just a piece of cardboard, but I used gunmetal, which is basically the same except that it's a lot darker. And that sort of works pretty good. I mean, I'd work with that, but yeah, I'm going to try it with the actual pearl as well, which is basically white. Yeah. I have to be very careful. I think I want to put it on in very, very small doses. That's it. I think I'm going to put maybe a little bit more on one side here. It spatters a little bit. I should thin it. But the effect is there. I like it. Definitely. Yeah. I'm just going to try it on this object, the test object here. That's it. No more. Oh my God, this is so good. Oh my, wow, it's so good. I mean, I'm looking at this, which this is the test print. That's just a raw flat test print with regular rattle can primer. And I'm looking at that next to this. And it's, in all modesty, the things that I've done with the model, it really brings it to life. It's I'm gonna be very happy with this, I think. Okay, so here we are. Yeah, here's the thing, and it looks really good, at least from under all these supports. But yeah, let's get them off, shall we? Also happy with how well the supports come off. There isn't going to be much fixing due to that. This is did this in Prusa Slicer, and the organic supports in Prusa Slicer are really good. There's so little cleanup. It's actually kind of amazing. Look at the back. That's just it's just printed standing up. I'm very happy. I mean, for my printer, that's amazing. There's a little bit of spider webbing. Very carefully use an open flame for that. Some very slight artifacts, but really nothing much. This sort of curving effect that it goes behind like this is one of my own modifications, and it's actually done rectilinearly. So it just goes like this and like this and like this face here. It's just a flat, but you simply can't see that. It looks so organic. These glyphs on the front center here are I've got primer on my finger from yesterday. I changed those as well to have a sort of like this shape, because I'm gonna put some gold in those, and I think it's gonna read better if it's not, if it's just extruded into the surface. I think the sort of V-slot shape is going to read better. I'm very happy with this. So I'm not going to be doing much more with the main body. It doesn't need much more work. But what I do need to work on, these little sort of tablet-y thingies here, they go in, they're the surface area between these, like that. And my God, that also works so well. I just glue them in like that. I just drop them in and glue them. Works so well. Better than I hoped. I think I've already said that, but no, this is blowing my mind just a little bit. I didn't do much flat out prop replication trying to make an actual prop. I didn't do that much. I want to. I like the challenge, but I'm not that good at it. So this is actually, you could say that it's sort of an early attempt for me with that kind of thing, and as such, very happy find. There we are. That is basically the tablet of Reawakening. That's what it's going to look like. There's the tablet of Reawakening. The whole thing. There we go. These little drop-ins or glue-ins here with the glyphs on them are, and you can probably tell, they're mirrored. So what I was thinking as this print was running, I was thinking when it came out and I had it like this, I would just have a look at it and see if I wanted to
make 3 custom ones for the other sides, but I don't think I have to. There's just enough noise there that it doesn't immediately read as if, oh, that's just mirrored. I'm not going to do that. The thing I am going to do with these, however, before I glue them in, is I'm going to hit the surface with a little bit of, I'm going to hit it with my Dremel. I don't know if this reads. This is the treated one and this is the untreated one. But what I think it does very successfully is take some of the hard edgedness off of it and makes it a little more like, and makes it a little more organic and sort of rough. The surface isn't entirely completely flat, and the little glyphs aren't just extruded shapes or this machined like appearance. And that's what I'm going to do to all of them, but just a little bit, just like that. It does, using this Dremel brush does give, or it can leave a tiny little bit of beard, I think you call it, on the edge of things that sort of gets ground off to one side, but I discovered that I can actually address that quite well. This is just a steel brush. All right, and drop them in. I don't know, I should almost do like a before and after shot with this. But it definitely, it removes some of the symmetry and adds some sort of, organic, both hand carved and also aged sort of appearance to it. Yeah, that's it. Now it's super glue and it's super fast setting, but I'm still gonna let it sit for a little while before I continue. Okay, well I feel fairly confident that this glue is dried and they won't fall off. Of course they won't. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put some filler, a little bit of filler in those glue seams there on the edges, and sort of land those and make them reasonably monolithic before I hit it with some primer. I think that's fine. That's along those glued edges there. I got that covered pretty well. So yeah. Alrighty, yeah. I did not just rip a giant fart. I have builders outside and they're drilling in the wall. Anyway, here we are. This is now the tablet primed. And I think it's looking amazing. I opted against sticking it down. I ended up just holding it in my hand. I did the tiniest bit of sanding in a few places after primer, but it really doesn't need sanding at all. I'm not going to do the whole surface, neither back nor front. I'm just going to finish it. I'm going to start painting it with finishing colors. I'm just going to hold it like, just like I did when I primed it. I'm just going to hold it like this. There we go. That's enough. I'm going to put this, now it's just depending on the angle, this is just a black void in space. I'm just going to put that over here to dry.
Right. So I've decided. I just did the back of this, and I'm going to paint the front of the artifact black, of course, just like the back. But I've also decided that I'm going to practice a little bit with the airbrush before starting to make the finishing on this one, the detailing, whatever I decide to do about that. I'm going to practice that a little bit. So for that purpose, I spray painted some paper black for me to practice on. It's not entirely the same sheen, but it's definitely close enough that I can practice a little bit with the airbrush. So these are the things I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to start by painting this black on the front. That's it. Wait, that's almost it. That's it. Lovely. Set that aside to dry. And then, like I said, I'm going to play with the finishes. Actually, I'm just going to do a little thing here. There's a few drops of paint left, and I'm just going to... There we go. I am so sorry. I am off to a flying start with the cameras off. I don't think you can tell. I've been doing a little bit more testing with these, trying to get this, both the pearlescence and also the sort of stony structure that I think the artifact's supposed to have, using the pearlescent paint and the airbrush. It looks amazing on my tests here. So I'm starting to slowly, and you can barely see it. See, let me just grab one of my test sheets. I'm sorry, it's black all over. I hope you can see. You can see with my test sheet here. I mean, I tighten it up so that it sprays very little, and very little paint comes out. You can barely see that I'm getting very little spray. And that's on purpose because I'm gonna try and, like I'm doing here, sort of very carefully on the black finish to build up a sort of a little bit of a pearlescence until I feel that it's right. And that's what I've actually already started doing on this. There's the tiniest amount of pearlescence on it already, and I have to be very careful and build this up very gradually, because it's very hard to see. It's very hard to see that I'm getting any finish on there at all, which of course means that by the time I can see it, if I'm not very careful, by the time I can see that I'm spraying, I will have oversprayed. It will have too much pearlescence. And I think that's it. I think that's it. I think maybe it can take a little bit more, but and drying probably won't change a lot. But I think I should leave it at this before I go too far, and then come back and have a look at it with fresh eyes. All right, my siblings in making, we're back for, I think, what is about to be maybe the last paint pass that I'm going to do on this thing. The last or the penultimate, we'll see. I've laid down a fresh piece of paper here because everything was just covered in black, and I mean, you can't see, but even I could barely see.
I can see now that I have let it sit and I have let my eyes rest upon it for a little bit, that I think it needs just a little bit more of the general pearlescence that I'm talking about. You can barely see that I've done it. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you had the original black next to it, which is more like this, you'd definitely be able to see it. But I think it needs to be a little more pearlescent if I'm comparing with the pictures, the screenshots that I have, which is all we have. There are no pictures that I've been able to find anyway of the prop, so we'll have to make do. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna hit it with a pass of a little bit more of general pearlescence, and then I'm gonna start doing the thing that I have been testing. I think it's this brush is the right one actually, where I'm going to do some striation or some oring or whatever you want to call it, some yeah, some patterns, some texture along the lines of what I did on this test piece here. And that should be it. And apart from putting gold into these, which I'm not sure I'll do in the same pass, but maybe these are these either way. These are the final sort of operations that need doing here. Is it? And this is very hard to see. Which is a big part of why I'm being very careful with it and have been doing it in these several working passes. I'm trying to kick the habit of holding the airbrush with my other hand like this. I don't think it's a good idea. I haven't asked anyone, but it feels like I shouldn't get used to doing that. Yeah, and it's sort of a little bit silvery now, which is exactly what I think it looks like. It's a little bit silvery or shimmery, but still black. Yep, I'm gonna keep it. This is it. Okay, so here we go. Here's my paint. Here's my wee little paintbrush, and now I'm gonna do this little. I'm just gonna do this little sort of this kind of thing. I think I'll start down here maybe. I want it to be pretty dry, the paintbrush. Yeah, like that. Such a good boy. Actually, this is slightly less terrifying than I thought it would be, uh, because it takes a little bit more of a. I have to the brush has to be a little wetter than I thought for this to work, and I have to be a little more vigorous than I thought I might have to be. So those are actually good things. This sort of texture that this causes doing this should actually be kind of everywhere. It's a little weird if it's too. Once I start adding texture or adding this like stony texture, then it's if any area is too clean, that's actually a little weird. This is actually very nice. Oh my god, this is very nice. I like it. I also like that I can sort of manipulate it a little bit just using my fingers. Just doing a little bit of that if I think I hit it too hard. I'm decidedly happy with this. It's very good. I think I should maybe do a little bit on the sides so that it doesn't get too front heavy. Just a little bitty. But again, apparently I can use my fingers. I can also, actually I could also use a dry brush like this one, just a coarse one. Yes. To just, like if I think I hit it a little bit too hard, which I thought I did there. And like that. See, I hit that a little hard. Well, I just dab it a little bit with the tough bristles here, and it looks. You know what? That's it. There's one thing left, and that's the gold. I'm gonna do the gold now. And I'm just gonna get some gold out of this thing. See, I just take it apart, and then I get. Whoa, that was too much. That was way too much. Last time I tried, it didn't come out that easy. Like that. So here we go. Oh my god, I think I should use a magnifier for this. No? Oh god, that's gonna be pretty. Actually, I don't think I need a magnifier. I do need some, if I can get some light from over here maybe. That might help. Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, the other camera cut out right around here, and that's where the audio lives. So I have no sound from this last bit, but that's it. Here it is. It's done, and I'm very happy. Here's a few beauty shots. I'm not being modest right now. I'm actually quite proud and quite happy. I think it turned out great. And fortunately, so does my daughter, who got it for Christmas. So yeah, that's it. The tablet of Reawakening from Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, the entire build. I'm very happy you stuck with me for this quite long one, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.